Hi there, welcome to Towan Talks Cardfight. Today I am discussing my new deck, which is a fun deck. So, side deck, I don't actually have a few of the pieces for it. There's a few cards I'd like to swap out, but this is a fun deck which I've put together using the promo card which I reviewed the other day, the Chain Blast Dragon. I found it's working very well. It's actually a very strong deck against the likes of Link Joker, Raging Form Dragon. It does very well against that. You're retiring their rear guard before they can retire them, so they're losing effects. You create a lot of hand advantage. Well, you create a lot of field advantage, which forces later hand advantage because they're having to play more cards to be able to make up for the field advantage they've just lost. And if they don't lose cards from hand in doing so, they have dramatically weakened their field. Yeah, it seems very competitive at the moment. It's doing very well. I've run it against several different types of deck, most notably Raging Form Dragon, Dragonic Descendant, um, Chaos Breaker, and the Ancient Dragon Tachikatsu clans as well, going for Death Rex, Spino Drive, Dark Rex, I think it is. Yeah, it's done very well. You retire their units before they can, so they can't do anything to you. You gain so much advantage from doing so that it works very well in the current meta. I was really surprised when I was playing it. As I said, this is a fun deck, so it is a very budget deck as well. So it's lots of cards which are very easily accessible, they're very cheap, and I'm pretty sure most of you would probably be able to build this deck very easily. Probably make it a little bit better than what I've done. Who knows? Right, onto the deck. First up, we have our starter, Red Pulse Draco Kid. Yes, I am using Red Pulse. I'm not using Conroe because Conroe, it's a grade 1 searcher. In this deck, you don't need that because you're wanting grade 3s in your hand. It's very odd that for a deck to want that, you want grade 3s. You're not wanting the grade 1. You're wanting lots of grade 3s. Not much else to say. It's Pioneer, obviously, or most starting Vanguards are. It comes out with the Soul, comes to rear guard. Then skill, Cat +1, put it into Soul, check top up cards for a grade 3. Simple. It's a good card. Okay. Next up, I run the standard 4 heals. Yeah, standard 4 heals. Not much else to say. I also run 3 draw triggers. Only 3. You don't really need to draw that much. It's just nice to have a bit of a hand advantage engine in there. It's good when you get them. They're useful, but you need space to be able to hit a bit harder because as a deck it doesn't hit very hard. It just clears the way for you to do a lot of crazy things. It just helps you with those a couple of turns when you're trying to hit a bit more. It helps you go a bit stronger into a late game. Okay, first up, I have 1 Tar, 4 Blu-ray Draco Kids, and 4 of the Demonic Dragon Berserker with the name I can't pronounce. 9 crits. I like it. Other people would probably disagree. They'll say we'll draw 8 crit or 6/6 or go for a full 12 crit. I put this together, it seems to be working. Not much else to say about my grade 1 lineup, except this card is a very good booster for late game. I will explain why a bit later on, once I get to the cards which make it so good. Okay. Now, onto my grade 1s. I have 4 Embodiment of Armor Bar, Standard, 8k Vanilla. You need it to be able to hit numbers. You've got a lot of 10k vanillas in this deck, so it's good for hitting the 18s, and it's your most sought after ride target. Right. Next up, I have 4 Airmos. A lot of people would disagree with using these. They'd probably say you run Kinmaru, but you don't need more retiring effects, and there isn't really that much choice for grade 1s, So this is just trying to cycle your hand a bit more. You could maybe swap one out for a Gojo, but I use ammo because whack it behind a 10k, you get a 16k column. It's nice. It works very nicely. Okay, now I run 2 Gojos. Same reason as ammo, cycle your hand. You're going to have a lot of dead weight hand throughout most of the game. It's good to try and get rid of some of that. Next up, this is what would be your perfect card, so 3 Bari, but at the moment they're actually 2 Kinmarus and another Gojo, but they should be 3 Bari if you want to actually make this competitive. I don't really like using too many counterblast in my grade 1s because you need to counterblast for other cards in your deck, because there's a lot of cards that you have which will need 1 or 2 counterblasts to be able to function effectively. Okay. Alright, on to the grade 2s. Let's start off with 4 Berserk Dragon. Yes, here is some heavy counterblast usage. Yes, you have a lot of retiring effects from your grade 3, but this is just consistent. You can get rid of a starter very early on. Some people would say, why don't you run Gatling Claw Dragon in your triggers? This is what this guy I use instead. Yes, it's more heavier counterblast, but you're not wasting a trigger. Not much else to say on that one. Next up, I have 3 Nahalem, 10k vanilla, very standard, and 3 Prowling Dragon Stricken. This guy's interesting. He's a defensive card, like a lot of the Kagero cards, because Kagero is a very defensive clan. You're retiring units to give yourself the better defensive position. This card, he has restraint when he's in the Vanguard circle, so he's a 10k vanilla and rear guard, but when he's in the Vanguard circle, he cannot do anything. He cannot attack, there's no way to lift the restraints, he can't do anything. People would say, why would you run this card? Well, when he's attacked by an unboosted unit, he gains an extra 5,000. So, say a 10k rearguard is attacking you. Oh wait, they don't have a boost. You are now 15k and you can't be hit. Nice, very good. But this is the reason why I run it. When you ride another Kagero unit on top of this card, you gain plus 5,000 and +1 critical. It helps you get some early pressure on. Your turn 3 ride will hurt. Right, you're going to hit really hard on that turn, which provides extra crits inside the deck, so you have the potential on that turn to get 3 or 4 crits off that attack. Very strong. Okay, that's it for my grade 3s. Yes, that is 10 grade 3s. Okay, and next up, onto my 10 grade 2s, sorry. Now onto my grade 3s. I run 2 Dragonic Overlords. It's a nice grade 3. Stick it in your rear guard. Strong 13k cop. I run 1 Dragonic Lawkeeper. You have lots of searching effects. Get a Lawkeeper, it's good for late game. Say you've run out of grade 3s to discard for your effects, you run Lawkeeper as your Vanguard instead. Yep. Also, I'll run 3 Dragonic Waterfalls. This guy's very interesting. When you attack Vanguard, plus 3k. Very standard ability for primary Vanguard cards at 10k. But his other one, you discard a grade 3 Kagero unit and he gains plus 10,000. So we'll combine with Stricken, that's a plus 15,000 on that turn for riding and discarding a grade 3. Lots of power. So you're straight up with no boost, hitting for 28. I think that's quite a nice thing to be able to do. Very strong. You can use this as your primary Vanguard. I choose not to because I like to aim to have this wonderful card out. My Vanguard for this deck, Chain Blast Dragon, which I run 4 of. This guy, he's very intriguing as a card. Limit Break, counter blast 1, discard 2 grade 3 units, and retire 3 of your opponent's rear guards, any of them. Defensive ability, very strong one, retiring units, good. Your second ability allows you to filter your deck a bit, make it a bit more likely for you to get triggers. When this card hits from the Vanguard circle, and he hits another Vanguard, retire 1 of your rear guards, such top 5 cards of your deck for a grade 3. Hyping up his own ability, giving you the ability to draw into, say, a Dragonic Waterfall, which you could ride instead, or bring up your Lawkeeper, bring up some Dragonic Overlords for rear guards. You bring in some more cards for you. And the combination of this guy, this wonderful trigger here, becomes become a 12k booster. Yeah, I was thinking maybe swapping out these 3 for Blazing Flare Dragon, because that's a plus 3k when something's retired, and maybe swapping out some of my grade 2s to be able to get in some Sutherlands, but they are 8k base, so I preferably stray away from them. But I'm seriously considering swapping these for Blazing Flare Dragons. Because with Blazing Flare Dragon and this guy together, Blazing Flare Dragon becomes 19 on its own. Or from rearguard. 19k column from rearguard. Just off one card. You stick a booster behind it, say you stick a Gojo behind it, you're hitting a 26k rearguard column. So you've got this one behind it, that's a 31 column. You're hitting ridiculous numbers off this. It's very intriguing, the fact that you could do this. There's also the grade 1, which starts at 5k. Every time a card's retired, it gains plus 5k. You could use that in your grade 1s, instead of, say, Airmos or some Gojos, and you get ridiculously high numbers. Like I said, with a Blazing Flare Dragon and that guy behind them, you'd be hitting for 39. That's really high. That's hitting really nice numbers. I was really surprised when I actually did the maths on this before, and you're actually hitting so many high numbers off just, you're losing 2 cards from your hand, yes, you're using up a counterblast, yes, but those 2 cards in your hand are deadweight cards, they're grade 3s, and your opponent is losing 3 cards from the field, and you are getting so much aggressive strength from this. So I'm really thinking I need to swap these for Blazing Flare Dragons, because they would have so much more synergy with the deck. But then you would lose Dragon Lawkeeper, which is a very nice card to have. But yes, I want to swap those for Blazing Flare Dragons. It's a way to bring the old cards back into play. That's something I'd quite like the idea of, bringing some really old cards back into more modern play, and you go from there. There's not much else you could say. It's a very linear deck. There's different ways you can run the cards, like you can use this guy's Limit Break to retire some cards, then bring out a Berserk Dragon and retire another one, so you can clear an entire 4 cards in one turn. Yeah, you've got some very potent retiring effects. That's the main focus of the deck. It's very defensive in that regard, where you're retiring lots of different cards. You've got slightly higher guard consistency because you've got the 1 extra crit. Yeah, so you've got 9 10k shield. Oh, you've got 12 10k shields, I believe, or 13 10k shields, and 3 5k shields. Instead, you've got lots of fodder for doing things. You can do lots of this set, and using the Airmos and the Gojos, you can cycle out any grade 3s which you wouldn't normally have. So normally you want to have 2 grade 3s in your hand, maybe 3 if you're planning on doing something special, like use its ability, call another one out to rear guard, or use its ability, get the attack off, get another one so you can use its ability next turn. But you only really want to have 2 in your hand. And yeah, it's run incredibly well. I was so crazy surprised at how consistent this deck actually is, because I'm of the grade balance I'm running, that's 13 grade 1s, 10 grade 2s, 10 grade 3s, actually a very consistent deck because you've got lots of grade 3 search engines with the Chain Blast Dragon to get more. You've got your Red Pulse Draco kit. There's lots of search engines in there. You have lots of ways to get the cards to be able to ruin your entire enemy's field, and it's incredibly consistent. I recommend you actually try this build, or try building a deck around this card. It worked very well. I was crazy surprised. It was kind of teched into my Dragonic Waterfall build before, and now I've completely changed it from a Dragonic Waterfall build to a Chain Blast Dragon build because I'm loving this card. I'm loving the way it plays. It's incredibly strong as a defensive unit, and more people should play it. There's not much else I can say about this deck, so I'm gonna have to end the profile here. Thanks for watching. I'm Towan. I've talked about Cardfight. If you just subscribe down below, like the video, and I will see you around. Have a nice day.